And good morning, everyone. Today is the 19th of February, 2019. I'm Roy Potter, and this is the Potter Expositor. Welcome as you come in. I believe the chat is on. I will check it here in a minute after the introductory information. Now, first shot out of the bag this morning, first thing we're going to say is, everybody's going to say, gee, what happened to you? You know, what did you do? Well, if you think I look bad, you ought to see the other guy. No, that's just a joke. That's just a joke. I think I've told you all before that I was exposed to chlorine, liquid chlorine, in a rather bad situation, which I won't go into. It had to do with my my work, let's just put it that way, and that was many years ago. But it's one of the reasons why I always have to wear a hat or something else, or you know, I go to the beach and things like that. But I'm really supposed to stay covered one way or another. I got burned quite badly by that chlorine, and as a result of the exposure to it, I have skin lesions that can go cancerous. And so on my head, on my shoulders, on my arms, and on my face. The face has been a problem, not major, but it shows up every once in a while. So I have to go get these cut off or burned off. And this one here is really bad. Nobody wants to kiss you with one of those. No, it's not a canker sore. So at any rate, but like Mike Cernovich, you know, Mike will go on air, do a Periscope or whatever, even when he's just, you know, he's you know, I think most women think he's a pretty good-looking guy. I'm sure he is. Obviously, his wife does. And he's vain in the sense that he likes to look his best. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Everyone should strive to look their best. But I have noticed that even when he is being really attacked by his eczema problem, really bad, where his skin is flaking off and things like that, he does not let that stop him from going and speaking his mind. So there you are. It's the reason why I decided to come on today and not let this stop me. So, you know, I'm not completely vain in that regard. Some people say, yeah, you're vain for doing certain things that make yourself as best you can, but that's not. That's just, first of all, that's like the ties and things like that when you can. That's actually respecting your audience. But at any rate, I don't think anybody... You know, there's a thing called a golden ratio, and I've talked about that before. And if you don't know what it is, go look it up. And it's why we do see beauty, but it's also why evil hates beauty and will attack it. So at any rate, I'll just leave it at that. I have a show today where I'm going to stay on chat quite a bit. As you can see, the title of the show is basically what should happen to these people involved in the coup. Should they receive leniency because they were just misusing their positions because they thought they were doing the best thing, which I don't buy. I consider them to be leftist Marxist infiltrators. The shadow government is evil, and anybody who is found to have helped this thing along in any way, you can't go into their minds and look and see if they feel that way. But if they've done any overt acts to help overthrow the constitutional republic of the United States of America and President Donald Trump, they should go down, in my opinion. Should we give them leniency? Should they get leniency, or should they be punished to the fullest extent of the law? And I think I know where most everybody will go with this. As I have said, we've entered a period of time where there's no way, there's no bridgeable gulf between good and bad, between the left and the right, between Democrats, leftist Marxists, and that's what they really are now. And that really hurts my feelings because I have some good friends that are Democrats, but by this time they should see what's going on. Not that the rhinos, the Republicans, are any better. The rhinos are the guys, the Republicans are the guys that sit back and don't say anything. They just let the Democrats do what they want, which is really acquiescence. Silence is agreement. So they're as at fault as anybody else. The few that speak up, Rand Paul, Devin Nunes, Matt Gaetz, Mark Meadows, you know, all those guys. There are some voices out there, but most of them aren't saying anything. So silence is agreement. So anybody who isn't stating their position on these things one way or another, you know, they're just trying to skate the deal. All they're worried about is their position and their money and whatever. And they should all be thrown out of office. Is that realistically going to happen? No. But at any rate. So I guess my point here is what should be done with these guys? And you already know what my vote is. They need to be collared, and they need to be processed in the criminal justice system. And if found guilty, they in my opinion, the least they should get is life imprisonment, and most of them should be executed. That's the way I look at it. And that includes Hillary Clinton. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Okay, that's just for the introduction. You might wonder what some of these other plates are on here. You noticed I brought up Keith Schiller the other day, who used to be President Trump's bodyguard, and there's some things going on there. I mentioned this, and I want to give thanks to a lady. I'm not identifying you. You might be watching. I'm not identifying you out of courtesy, okay, for a lot of reasons. But on Twitter, she sent me this information, and as I said the other day, I don't have a whole lot of time to waste with these thread-of-tears that go on these long, and they'll pull information in. Everybody does this, so that's not really an issue. It's that they're so adamant that their position be followed and believed, and they get accolades for all of this when they're really speculating most of the time. Not that they aren't having some good information, they do, but in my tenure with them, in my time with them, I found out that most of it is BS, and I just don't have the time for it. But every once in a while, they'll hit on something, and this time I think they have. And again, I'm not going to mention the names of who they are, but this situation with Keith Schiller, President Trump's former bodyguard, is looking more and more likely that he is doing some significant things behind the scenes. And I talked about that in an impromptu live stream the other night. I won't get into it much today, but I will identify some of these people for you in these pictures so you'll know who we're talking about. I don't think that's going to bother their operational security because they already know that the deep state knows what they're up to. If they're doing anything, the deep state already knows. Talking about what they're doing isn't outing them because the deep state has all these eyes and ears everywhere, and they know what's going on. But because of what they're doing, or what I think they're doing, it's a very good possibility. That's why the deep state, the Democrats, Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, all these people are so nasty right now, saying, well, if you do this, we're going to come and take your guns. That's what we're going to do. Well, you know what? Alex Jones used to say it, right? Santa Claus has a list. He's checking it twice, finding out who's naughty and nice. Comes a point where the American people, and I'm talking about middle America, right? The good people. The people that have sweat and bled and sacrificed for the principles of the American Republic, not the government, but the principles of the American government, and they've been fooled for too long. And right now, the truth of the lies of this government, of the people that have been running it, not the principles, not what we're supposed to stand for, but the people, is now being shown brightly. And that includes, even though President Trump won't say it, I will, the MSM, which is a propaganda arm of the intelligence community, primarily the CIA. He won't say it. I do, every chance I get. Our greatest danger and the greatest domestic terrorist danger is the IC. Okay, along that line, before we get to these pictures and before I open up the chat, well, the chat's open, but before I address it, I want to show you what's happening here. Some of you have heard about Lara Logan. I think that's how you say her name. She was a CBS correspondent who has now come out and said that it's basically propaganda-driven, the news media. Like any of us didn't know that. It's interesting. I think I told you about a trip I took during the Christmas holidays, and I went to see family, and there were some members of my family that are dyed-in-the-wool Democrats that they were kind of, the middle-of-the-road Democrats, but they fell into this thing of hating Trump. They went along with the propaganda. As intelligent as they are, they went along with this thing, and of course, when you're going to overthrow, when you're going to have a coup, you have to get as many people against the leader as you can. So the entire media is complicit in this. Even the talking heads that sit there and read the lines from the prompters. They're not as culpable, but they are because they need to at least be brought to account. Because this is not journalism, what they've been doing. And so anyway, these people in my family, they talked about how much they hate Trump. And I didn't let on too much. There are times when you just got to hold your tongue, which I did. I mean, I came out in defense of principles and not so much personalities, because I knew that wouldn't go anywhere. But this hatred for Trump that they have because of the way that the news media, the mainstream media, has twisted the information and weaponized it, so that when they took down Trump, be it by assassination or by these silly things like the 25th Amendment, which does not apply in this situation, or any other number of ways, that the people would have gone along with it, because you can't unseat a popular leader. It's very difficult. Look at what's happening in Venezuela with Maduro. There are people in the street that are saying, no, don't do that. We shouldn't even be involved in that. But that's another thing, another problem that I have with Trump. And I'm not going to go there today. That's not really what we're about. As you can see, I'll back up Trump. I'll stand by him on everything, but I'm not going to keep my mouth shut when he does something stupid. But I don't hate the guy. Not at all. As a matter of fact, I have a great amount of respect for him. So when I have said something that seems negative about Trump, it's only because I'm upset about what he's doing in that particular instance, not his entire persona, not his character, not what he's trying to do overall. I don't hate his family. As a matter of fact, his son, Don Jr., is amazing. And so is Eric, as I've said, but Don Jr. is really amazing. But you can't remove a popular president. You have to denigrate him, you have to demean him, you have to defame him. And the entire news media is doing that. They're complicit in this coup. There is no doubt about it. And the IC, in particular, the CIA and the FBI and the DOJ and people in the State Department are behind it. Of course, people like Soros, of course, too. Soros should be taken out by the Delta Force today. So that's why we're going to talk about some of these things. I wanted to bring up Lara Logan, though. I appreciate her. This is a big step. Now, we've had a few people in the news media do this. You had Michael Hastings, you've had Gary Webb, now Lara Logan, that have brought up some of these things and talked about this type of stuff. Gary Webb and Michael Hastings paid with their life. God bless Lara Logan. Please protect her, that she does not suffer this. She's a mother and a beautiful lady and a wife, and you better leave your hands off of her, you bastards. Anyway. We have these people in the news media that'll come forward. Here's my question. It goes along with everything that I've said for so long. Where in the hell are the agents in the intelligence community, the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, etc., that will come out and tell us how bad it is inside those agencies? I'm sick and tired of hearing that the rank and file are good. It's just the people at the top. All right, well, come forth and prove it. Speak up. Like I said, silence is agreement. Oh, we can't do that because we have non-disclosure agreements. So there are still people you can go to. Be damned the IC. They're not a government. Your allegiance is to the oath to the Constitution, not to the oath to the agency that you took, which is subservient to the Constitution. And if you don't believe that, and if you're too afraid to do it, you're chicken shit. It's time to come forward. If Lara Logan can do it, you sure as hell can. Because Lara Logan being part of CBS is part of the propaganda tool of the CIA. So in essence, she's been working for the CIA for many years. And I'm sure she knows that. She's too smart not to. So you guys in the IC, the FBI, the DEA, all of those things, the Justice Department, the CIA, the U.S. Marshal, all of you all. It's time for you to come forward. You stand for the Constitution. You don't do things just because your bosses tell you to. I didn't stand in that rut. It's one of the reasons why I am where I am today. But at least my conscience is clear. Of course, maybe you don't have a conscience. That's who they've looked for the last 30 years, are people that don't have a conscience. They're dead inside. They are the real zombies. Look what they did to Roger Stone. Look what they tried to do to the Bundys. It's like I said about the Bundy situation before. And if the government still has a problem with them today, all they got to do is go into their bank account and take the money for the taxes that they haven't paid. But is that what the issue is? Oh, no. Oh, no. They got to make an example of them. They've got to steal their land. That's what they're really after. And Hillary Clinton is behind it, and President Trump's presidential executive order, December 21st, 2017, covers all of that, and he needs to act, and that's another reason why we're talking about what we're going to today. And to kick the rest of that off, I'll say this. Yes, I use the scriptures quite a bit because they can be used for good or bad, like I've talked about before. The bad side uses them, the good side uses them. They're good philosophy. They're a way to find out about human nature. You can go read Shakespeare, of course. So, you can do that if you want. But it's really, really complete. And I personally believe that God did have a hand in these scriptures. And so there's a story in the Bible. Remember, and I've talked about this before, and then after this we'll talk about Keith Schiller. God told God told Samuel to tell Saul. Samuel was the prophet. Saul had become king, and he was not, remember, I wind up a lot of stuff. All you people that are all into this, the Lion of Judah and all this kind of stuff, I just want to point something out. God promised Judah that a scepter would not depart a lawgiver would not depart between his feet, or the scepter from Judah until Shiloh comes, right? Isn't that what the promise was? And this is before Saul was born, a long time before Saul was born. Well, Saul was a Benjamite. Why? Where was the descendant of David there? Do you see my point? Anyway, and there's some other problems with that on down the line. But I just want to point that out to all these people that thump and say this stuff. Anyway. So God tells Samuel to tell Saul, look, these guys over here, and I'm not going to give you the whole story, but this nation over here is really bad. They've put themselves in a position where not only are they vile, but they've got a civilization now where the children that are born into it have no chance to survive and learn the right good. It's so evil there that a child born is going to be evil, and there's nothing they can do to change it. So environment does have a lot to do with character. But this was so bad, the DNA was so bad, whatever. I'm making lots of excuses. Some people say, they were just using that as an excuse to go destroy their enemies. Well, whatever. The point of my story is this. Saul was told to kill everybody, including the king. Well, he did, and the sheep and the goats and the oxen and everything, because everything had become polluted. Who knows? They were probably doing DNA. We think of these people as ancient, and they didn't know anything. Hell, they were probably splicing DNA back then, and there's some evidence to suggest that was going on. Sort of like what they're doing today, putting baby parts with insects and with animals and stuff like that. These evil people like Governor Northam of Virginia, that evil guy. Donald Trump today should send the U.S. military in there and seize them for the violation of the rights of the newborn, who are human beings. He wants Trump was saying, we need a new act that says that newborns are protected. We've already got that. It's called homicide. Come on, Trump. Come on. Yeah, I'm agitated this morning. Okay, so the story goes that Saul goes in there and he slaughters just about everybody, but he definitely doesn't slaughter the king, and he doesn't slaughter the sheep and the goats and all that. And his excuse is, the people can use these animals for sacrifices in the temple. And the king, he's kind of a buddy of mine, and God told him, he says, look, I told you, when you became king, you agreed to do certain things. And one of the things you agreed to do is to do what I tell you. And what I told you to do, and you agreed to it, was to go take these people out and destroy everything. Your excuses don't work. Do you see how this works for Trump when he says, we're a nation under God? Hillary's going to jail. I mean, how many times did you hear Hillary for prison? Lock her up. And he went along with it. As a matter of fact, it wasn't just political rhetoric, because he said those things. He said that she was a criminal many, many times. And now we have this entire coup thing. So what I'm saying is he made a promise to go after these people. And he had to do it not only for the righteous people in our country that are supporting him, and he has not returned that favor, at least not openly. Not in the way that he should by doing justice. Now, I realize there's some problems here where he's had to be delicate. Well, right now, There's no reason to hold back. If he still holds back, as I've said before, we've got a problem. You know, Monograph is very right in saying that he's not really in charge. That's true, Monty. I agree. And what will I say? He better goddamn well take charge. That's what I say. Reveal this for what it is. So if he does that, he'll fulfill, and he goes after Hillary Clinton, and he goes after McCabe and Comey and Clapper and Brennan, et al., Holder, Obama, everybody. Take them to court. Do it the right way. He's got to do that. There's no excuse for him not to, because if he doesn't, you remember what happened with Saul in this situation? God said, I'm going to take you out. You made a promise, and you didn't fulfill justice, because you have justice and you have mercy. And the perfect balance of those is what's called beauty. That's real beauty, is the balance of justice and mercy. Well, these people that have done this to us and to our president do not deserve our mercy any longer. They deserve the sword of justice. And it needs to come down and take their heads off. Because Trump, if you don't do that, God will remove you. And I don't think it'll be very pretty. And it'll be a cause and effect thing. In other words, they'll see you're weak. Your enemies will see you're weak. And they're going to come and get you. And they're going to get your family. And they're going to get all your supporters. And this will become a land of blood and death for the wrong cause. So there's no excuses to hold back. You have Barr now, who I don't trust, but if he doesn't act, you're going to have to do something else. Okay? He's really on the... By the way, I had a dream about Barr last night. I might as well tell you this. I don't know if it meant anything or not, but, you know, I do have... All of us have these inputs from the spiritual side once in a while. So I haven't figured out where this one came from yet. I guess... time will tell if it's true or not, but let me tell you a little bit about what happened. I'll only give you a few parts of the dream. Somehow or another, I was working for Barr. I don't remember exactly why, but I was in his office, you know, and I was with a lot of other people, and we were all doing apparently really good things. That's kind of how it felt. And it wasn't payday. It wasn't payday yet. But he went around the office, and he was giving people money. And he came up to me, he stood in front of me, he says, here, this is for you. And he put some money in my breast pocket here and in my hand, and thanked me and moved along. Well, we'll find out, won't we? We'll find out if he's actually changed. Like James Kallstrom, who was the deputy director of the FBI, was never a bad guy, but he did help to cover up the TWA thing, the crash that occurred. And he's regretted it ever since, and he's come back so strong. Maybe that's what Bill Barr's done. I don't know. I don't trust him yet, but that dream last night, it could have just been an anxiety, a hope, or whatever. Or maybe it's prophetic. I don't know at this point. I haven't asked God for the interpretation, frankly. I'm almost afraid to, for lots of reasons. Okay, so President Trump, Saul didn't follow through with his promises, and God took him out. Replaced him with David, right? And then gave David all of everything that Saul had, including not just his throne, but all of Saul's wives. Wives. Did you hear me say that? Wives. Our prudish idea of what men and women relationships is tanked in the evil concepts of the Catholic Church, fomented by the Roman Empire pagans. Not Judeo-Christian, not Hebrew, not God. Okay. Enough ranting and raving. Okay, I want to show you these pictures of Keith Schiller and his team. Now, like I said the other day, for those of you who missed it, apparently Keith Schiller has not left the Trump orbit. It was the story came out that, well, okay, it was too much for him. He was going through a divorce. He wasn't getting enough money. He couldn't make it, so he and his team left and kind of got out of the picture. Frankly, I've known he was there, but I didn't really know what he was doing. And then this thing came out from this person on Twitter. They sent me a personal direct message. And it was from these threadeteers, and I was going, gee, I don't know. These guys, you know, they've been waffling, and they've been making stuff up for so long. Making 2 + 2 = 5, you know, all kinds of weird stuff. So I wasn't sure I wanted to go there. But I thought on it for about 2 or 3 hours, and I thought, you know what? I got to go check this out. So I called my Republican insider, and I discussed it with him. And he said, well, Roy, you know what? You're right. Check into Keith Schiller. I think you'll find that some things are going on that maybe might surprise you. Well, wow. So, at any rate, I did. I found out that his office, he supposedly moved to Boca Raton, which is in Florida, which is, as I said in one of my videos, my live streams, impromptus, is only 30 to 35 miles from Mar-a-Lago, which of course is where President Trump spends a lot of his time, and went there right after this whole thing happened this last week with the immigration bill and all that. Why would Keith Schiller be, who's from New York, be in Florida and be that close to Mar-a-Lago? What's going on there? More importantly, he opened up a security service there that only has a virtual office, as I explained. In other words, it's a phone number, and that's it. There are a couple of other of Schiller's associates who worked with him that opened up their own private services as well. And I won't go into those. But I think maybe there is actually something going on here. So what is the responsibility of Barr to listen to what Schiller and these guys say if, in fact, they're doing investigations for Trump? Well, the evidence he can't turn his back on, for sure, any more than he can what Tom Fitton's doing in Judicial Watch. Okay, not if he's the real deal and he wants to fix the country. And the evidence is so overwhelming, even to the general public now. The MSM's not giving it to it. Like my family members, they're probably still watching CNN and MSNBC and thinking that they're doing research that's really important because they look at the sites and the resources that the CNN and the MSNBC, et cetera, give them, and they don't dig any further, but they think we're all crazy. Well, that shows you how effective the IC has been in destroying this country and in taking people's minds away from them. These guys are relatively intelligent. I can't stress how important that is. They're actually upper middle class professionals. Okay, so Keith Schiller apparently is up to something. And I don't know if he's, as I said, I don't know if he's been deputized to be a U.S. Marshal or what. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But I think they have been out there doing some things. So let me show you these pictures so that you know who I'm talking about. I think most of you will probably know. Let's pull this one up first. That's over here on that one right there. Let's take a look at this. All right. You can't see my pointer, so I'll just have to explain to you who's here. Keith Schiller's the guy just over Trump's left shoulder between Trump and the police officer. That's Keith Schiller there. Then you have Trump. Then you have a couple of other guys there that you can see pretty plainly. To the far left is a guy by the name of Eddie Deck. He's former FBI. And then apparently there's a guy there. I guess it's the guy just over Trump's right shoulder next to Eddie. I guess that's Matt Calamari. Notice these guys, a lot of them are Italians, right? Isn't that interesting? According to my insider, he says that Trump brought 11 of these guys to the White House with him. They're all former FBI, Secret Service, New York PD, things like that. So those are the guys we're talking about. You can also see a guy just over Trump's left shoulder, or right shoulder, I'll say. He's bald in the back. He's another one. Okay, just so you know, the shaved fella, the shaved head fella behind him there. These are 4 of those 11 former FBI, Secret Service. These are 4 of the 11 that Trump had. Okay, so I wanted to show you that picture so that you know what I'm talking about. Let's put that back up here in the corner. I know there are faster ways to do this, but oh well. And then there's this one here. Let's take a look at this one. Okay. This is a little different. I want to point out a few things. Okay, we still have, these are all Trump's security team. In this one, Eddie Deck is on the far right. He looks like he's listening to his earpiece there in the sunglasses. There's a black guy right behind him. I'm sure he's part of the team as well. Then you have Trump. Then you have Keith Schiller just back there again between the police officer and Trump. And probably Matt Calamari again. And these other guys there on the right. I think that's Gary Uher, I think is his name. The guy there on the right side. But they surround Trump, you can see that. So all of these guys now have really not been heard of. Apparently, a couple of them went out and started their private security called Xmark, which is run by Eddie Deck and Gary Uher. But these guys are apparently still active, and Keith Schiller's getting paid through the RNC to take care of the security for the RNC. I think that's probably not entirely what that payment is for. But you can see these guys are real, and they're tough. Look at these. I wouldn't want to tussle with any of these guys. You know, the young Secret Service guys, they might be in shape, and they might, they might not have the weight on them that these guys have. But there's an old saying, and some of you will remember this: age and deception will always defeat youth and skill. If any of you monsters in the IC think you can take these guys on, look out. I think you're vastly underestimated. By the way, most operatives in the field are not the James Bond type. They're nerds, just so you know. You're nerds. Okay. That's basically what I wanted to talk about today. I will just mention on the Smollett thing that isn't it interesting how, and we all know this, I'm not going to cover all that's been in, you can get all this information elsewhere about Smollett and about the fake racist attacks and all that, all being drummed up by the Democrats, by Soros, etc. As a matter of fact, they even linked Soros to this one, this Smollett thing. I don't know if you know that or not. I don't know that the information's valid, but there are people that have been able to do that. Regardless, the intents are all there. So they have these real attacks that happen, like the couple that had the gun pulled on them because they were wearing a MAGA hat, and the news media doesn't cover that, right? But then this Smollett guy and all of these different people like that, they're all jumping on a fake deal. Well, this is really exposing them. But they're not going to repent from it, ladies and gentlemen. The MSM and people like Pelosi, even though she took her tweet down on this, supporting Smollett. But all these Hollywood people and all that, they're not going to apologize. It's not in their DNA to repent. Do you understand? The command to repent is going to have no function on them at all. They are beyond it. That's why I say this gulf is unbridgeable now. It will never be reconciled. They're evil to the core. Do we give them a chance to repent? Of course. Will they? No. Even with all of the evidence right now to show that there's all this staged fake stuff going on, do you see any retractions? Well, the MSM is talking about it a little bit, but what's the excuse that Brian Stelter gave, for instance? Well, he has, this may not have really happened, but Trump caused it because of the environment that he has put everybody in, and Smollett felt like he had to make a statement. Yeah, by lying, bearing false witness. Stelter, you're a snake. and I'd like to call you some other names. You look like Jack Nicholson in The Joker without his makeup after he's had the surgery, you know. You look just like that, and your heart is disgusting, and all of your associates are the same. It's time to get mad at these people and call them out for what they are. Nancy Pelosi, you're wicked. You're wicked. No, you're evil. You're not just wicked. Wickedness can kind of be good in some regards, depending on how it's worked. Evil, no. You're evil. Look what they've done to this country. They've done us a favor in one regard. Because, like I talked about several years ago, there will come a time very shortly, which has come, it's been here for some time now, where there will be no question what the evil and what the good is. There will be no question. And you will be able to choose it without any difficulty. And it's here. It's absolutely here. This is a life and death struggle against good, against evil. Good against evil. That's what this is. And it's clearly laid out now. And anybody like my family, those members of my family who are trying to say otherwise, you've got a problem. And you've got to fix yourselves. Because God isn't going to take the time anymore. He's laying it all out. It's in you. It's in your DNA. And if you can't clean yourselves up, you're going to be on the wrong side. And I don't want to see that. But I'm not going to sit here and preach to you either. We've got to call these people out for what they are. Adam Schiff is going to go to prison if this thing follows through with Barr and with Trump going after him. Adam Schiff is an evil, evil man. Think about his contacts in the Standard Hotel. If you don't know about that, go check it out. Especially you members of my family that think you're so smart. Go look at Adam Schiff and what he does. His connection with the Buck, the Standard Hotel, the helicopter crash, a lot of stuff. And I know Q talked about some of that stuff. But a lot of this was known before that. They just got information, you know, that nobody else was talking about. It made it sound brand new. But I'm not going to go there. Okay, they're doing the same thing again. Q's doing the same thing. They're recycling everything they said a year ago, making it sound like they never talked about it before. It's all bullshit. Okay, let's look at chat. I'm going to go there. By the way, if my moderators are on there, thanks for taking care of me. I appreciate it. That's K. Smalls, Liza, Jean, and Roosevelt, if they're there. I appreciate you doing that. Okay, let's see what you guys say. Remember, my question is, should Trump be lenient on these people because they just got caught up? They didn't really know what they were up to. They really believed that the country was in danger and all that BS. Should he be lenient on it, or do we hammer him with the full force of sedition, treason if it's applicable? In some situations it will be. Or any of these criminal things. Should they be hammered down and destroyed? Yes, that's my vote. That's my vote. They need to be completely obliterated. Everything they own taken from them, and their lives either forfeited or thrown in prison. That's the way I look at it. Let's see what you guys say. Jesse LeBlanc says that this needs to happen in Canada too, where the people rise up. I agree. I don't know what's going on here. Wade, the Canadian, saying that he's talking to Finest Planet One. Emotions and beliefs now have more weight than truth and facts. Emotional people are the easiest to control. Yeah. It's like what they've done to make Trump look like a bad guy, and even people are calling him bad, and they don't really. As a matter of fact, again, these people in my family say, "Oh, there were 4 Russians meeting with Trump and Trump Tower, the family, and all that. 4 Russians." And now we find out what? Oh, Donald Trump Jr. was calling some friends. But, it can be twisted. We can't have any respect for people that love and make lies and propagate them as if they're the truth. Look how destructive this has been. That's why bearing false witness is on the list of the 10 Commandments. It can be a capital offense because it destroys lives. It's a form of murder. Boy. Okay, let's just see what we got here. Well, Liza Jean Williams says, Jesse LeBlanc, you're right about Canada. I've given up. And I know why you're saying that. Just remember, God's got to put up a standard somewhere. Okay? It might already be there. Just look for it. It's got to be there somewhere. And just rally around it. It might not be very big. It's a remnant. And I don't want to get off on a big scripture thing, but yeah, find like-minded people, as I've said before, and rally. Now that could make you a target, but at this point in time, we just got to pick our side and stick with it. Yukon Cornelius, the traitors need to be Roger Stone. I like that. Yeah, tinfoil hat. He hasn't declassified the FISA info yet. Wake up. No, and I agree with you, tinfoil. I've been saying that all along. Haven't I? Just said it this morning again. He's got to act, or God's going to take him out, which could just be a cause and effect thing where the evil takes him out, right? In other words, he's going to lose God's protection, at the very least. So it could be just a cause and effect thing because he shows his weakness and he won't go after him. And I've been calling for this for how long, tinfoil hat? How long? Now, maybe he was waiting for the right tactical moment. Maybe he didn't want to make it look like it's coming from him. Maybe from Bill Barr. Maybe from Lindsey Graham. Maybe. But as of right now, there's no excuse. As of right now, there is no excuse. Plain and simple. He may not have declassified the FISA stuff because he might consider it court evidence. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here. Do I agree with it? No. Do I agree with the fact that he should have used a national emergency? Well, it was better than not doing anything at all, but frankly, he didn't even need that on this immigration thing. And he's even said that, and so have other people. Even Joe DeGenova said that. He didn't need to go there. He probably did it for financial reasons, for getting the money. But regardless, I think that he cowered there, and that's why I got so mad in that one video about the boxing match, about him laying down and capitulating without even fighting. Some people are saying, oh, he was so smart. He did this, he did that, he got that money from there. Is he the commander-in-chief or is he not? Is he subtle? Is he being wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove? Could be. But as of today, there's no excuse for not acting. As of today. No more. So he could be holding the FISA things and all of that as evidence, and he didn't want to throw it out there to poison a jury pool. Very possible. I think, according to my Republican insider, Jay Sekulow has even said that. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but we better start seeing some things happen here against these evil people that need to be taken out today. Better start seeing it, Trump. If you protect them, you're no better than they are. And you're not going to heal the country by failing to take action. You're going to tell the evil side that they can get away with it. That's what you're going to end up doing. Yeah, Yukon Cornelius talks about Operation Mockingbird. Yeah, it's never gone away. It never has. As a matter of fact, what did we see? We saw the repeal of Smith-Mundt, and then the NDAA, Congress, saying it's okay for the IC to use propaganda and to lie to the American people, and then they even gave them our tax money to pay them to do it. And we're supposed to like these people? We're supposed to think that there's something special? No, almost all of them are traitors. And that brings up another thing. And a lot of you might get upset about me on this. You know what BDS is, right? This whole thing about, that there's this movement to not deal with Israel. I believe that Israel has a right to exist. But I also believe that American people have a right not to support Israel if they choose not to. If they don't want to buy Israeli products, if they want to say that we should sanction them for some of the things that they're doing, the American people have a right to do that. But what did our Congress do? And Rand Paul tried to argue against it. What did our Congress do? Oh, no, we're going to make it so anybody that works for the government, they're going to have to take a loyalty oath that says that they can't do any BDS against Israel. Our government is insane. That's no different than saying that the people in Europe can't voice their opinions about jihadists in Islam. It's the same thing, except here it's, oh, you can't talk about Israel. And I've talked about my understanding of the history of this whole thing anyway. Again, I'm going to state it again. I believe that Israel as a state should be allowed to exist. Yes, it has a right to do that. Is it the Israel that all these Christians say it is? Well, in the sense that, it's a sign of the times maybe, but it's not God that stands behind those people. I'm sorry, it isn't. But that's for another time. Paradise Pete 73. Roy, the CIA, FBI, intelligence have been criminal ever since they were created. Sure they were. Who created them? The banking industry. You're absolutely right. They have been, and we've been propagandized and entertained that the FBI is, for instance, and that all cops are these wonderful people that stand for truth, justice, and the American way, and support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and stand against evil to protect the American people against the encroachments of criminals. No, they are the criminals. They protect the criminals, and that has been shown to everybody without doubt now for 2 years. And I've been talking about it for many years, decades really, but really strong since 2009. You cannot, it used to be that well, I'll just leave it at that. I know there are good cops. I'm friends. I have good friends who are cops, and they're good cops. But yeah, I'm afraid they're becoming. They're few and far between anymore, but especially in the federal government, especially in the FBI, the DOJ as a whole. The DOJ as a whole, which controls, of course, a lot of those things. The FBI needs to go away. As an example to everybody else in the system, the FBI needs to be dismantled. Barr's not going to do that. He wants to save the institutions, which is disgusting. The institution is part of the problem, not just the people that run it. It's institutionalized, and there's no way to clean it out without destroying it. But Barr won't do that. On his best day, he won't do that. Yeah, I agree that he needs to stop putting Israel first, Rose of Sharon Homestead. Because that's not putting America first. Israel is not our sister country. But a lot of people are really sucked into this whole Israel thing. They don't understand the history, or if they do, they ignore what is plainly manifest to them in front of their face. You say Trump did good on the wall. He's trying. Good rebuking the New York and Virginia baby killers, and there are others, New Mexico, California, I think Illinois. There are a whole bunch of these. These are popping up because this is the worship of Moloch. This is real evil, folks. This isn't and selling the baby parts and using the DNA to clone and to make chimeras, as Alex Jones has said. This is real, true evil, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I say that we can't stand for it anymore. Trump either will stand totally behind and go after these people. I realize he has to have strength. Okay, I understand that. You have to act from a position of strength. I understand that. But you also can't fail to act. Hopefully Schiller and those guys are really out there doing something. All right. Yeah, he needs to stop the neocon global crap. I know. He keeps putting these guys in there. And it's not because he's trying to keep control of them and let them reveal themselves. No, he's made some bad choices. And he slowed down this thing that could have taken effect a lot earlier if he had acted immediately within a month of taking office. But he showed his weakness and that he could be controlled. He failed in that regard. Not that he's totally failed, but in that regard he has, and he needs to re-seize the initiative, as I've often talked about. Okay. What I'm looking for here is, like I said earlier, I want to find out where you guys are. If you think that he needs to be lenient, or if he needs to come down with the full weight of the law and go after these people and crush them. Finest Planet says, that's what worries me. Where are the arrests? So she obviously wants the arrests. Yeah, we know about the senior executive service, Warren Franklin. We know about that. That's another thing that needs to be fixed, and it can be. All these people saying, oh, they can't, they're untouchable. You know, they've got all these things to protect. Baloney. No, it just takes courage to go after it and call it for what it is. Adam Schiff needs to go to jail. He needs to be arrested at the next break in Congress. You can't arrest a sitting congressman or senator while they're in session. But you sure as hell can in a recess, well, maybe not a recess, but definitely when they're not in session. And he needs to go down. So is Pelosi and Waters. Maybe even McConnell, the way things are looking. Yeah, I saw that. Ruth Kessler, BBC, tweeted Duma was staged and manipulated. Probably another reason why, and I don't say her name right, but the lady who was a spokesman for the State Department, I couldn't believe that she was in there. Heather Norte, however you say her name. And she was set to become to replace Haley at the UN, and I've been gritting my teeth and angry over that ever since it happened because I knew what she was. Beautiful woman. I can't stand that beauty like that can be so evil. But she is. So anyway, when the thing came out, and they embarrassed Trump because he believed this white hat bullshit, white helmet bullshit, I mean, and acted on it. And she's part of the reason why he did. So regardless, they got rid of her. Either she got rid of herself or she saw the writing on the wall and left. Okay, let's just see. Sally, okay, now we're getting on the subject matter. Sally Ann Deegan says, looking forward to the day they are all hung in the streets or left bleeding out. Well, okay. Let's say tried first. Let's find out if they're guilty or not, and then we'll talk about it. And if they are, some of them need to be hung. Absolutely, 100%. Comey needs to hang. Monograph, though, pointed out, you need to go look at his thing. It was about a 2-hour deal on Comey, a live stream. And he talks about it. I don't want to go into it here, but I've always known Comey's dirty. As are many of the others. But Comey is particularly a bad character. And his sanctimonious piousness is all fake. He's an evil bastard. He's a devil in disguise in a suit and well-set hair. He needs to be hung, but they'll need to make a big gallows for him. Okay. Boy, some of you guys are making some good things. True Zone, let me see what you're saying here. Where the truth needs to be told. There have been a lot of arrests just because the fake news, lamestream media has not been honest with you. Don't know why you are watching fake news anyway. Look at the CVI News Network. Now, wait a minute. Yes, the fake news media is not talking about the human trafficking, the human trafficker arrests that have been made. Not the way they should be. I will agree. Yes, they are going after a lot of them, and I've talked about this before. Sometimes you have to take the frontline troops before you can get to the command and control. Sometimes you do. And the December 21st executive order was notifying the enemy's command and control that Trump wants to come after them. But don't kid yourselves. There have been no, other than NXIVM, there have been no mid to high level arrests in any of this. Not yet. So in my mind, there's a difference between taking out the soldiers on the field who are bad in this instance. They're not like soldiers, conscripted or being forced to fight. These people are in there for evil reasons. I guarantee you. Yes, that's true. But they're not who we need to be. They're not the only ones we need to be after. We need to be after the very top level. They need to go down today. So all these things, talking about arrests really happening, all that, no. It's still not at the level that it needs to be. The main people that are controlling, and you'll never, ever eradicate evil. I hope you understand that. It's there to test us. It's there so that we are given the opportunity, those of us, I'm not saying that I am, but for those of you who are pure of heart and who do want to do the right thing. The evil in the world, the sin in the world is out there so that you can see it and then ask yourself if you have those same bad aspects in you so that you can ask God to help you to correct them. That's what evil's really about. I hope you understand that. But that doesn't mean that we need to placate it or cultivate it. It should be destroyed when we find it, whether it's in us or in others. Just make sure you judge correctly, because you'll be judged with that judgment that ye mete out. But I think it's pretty plain today who people like Pelosi, Schumer, Comey, the whole list. We can see what they are. It's very, very obvious. McCabe's confession on 60 Minutes. He's trying to backpedal now, but it's too late. I think God blinded him to his own stupidity. So anyway. Yeah, rapture ready, murdering newborn babies. I mean, if President Eisenhower and President Kennedy were willing to send troops to the southern states or wherever they were denying blacks their civil rights, how much more should they be sent? Should they be sending troops and saviors to save the lives of innocent newborn babies? We're evil. This is a political hot potato, but Trump has to act on it. God's watching him. If he doesn't do what he said he promised to do, God will take him out by withdrawing his protection, and the evil will take him out. That's what will happen. No, we're not going off on a tangent. We're discussing things. There's sometimes when we do broadcasts where we're specific, right? But this is the time where we can kind of interact a little bit. And what I am asking is, of course, are you for going after these guys or showing leniency? So far, everybody's saying hang them. It's time for Lone Ranger 22 says it's time for justice to be served against the deep state. Absolutely, and it's not going to be easy. That's why they're trying to denigrate, as I've said, they're trying to denigrate, demean, defame Trump so that everybody hates him so they can take him out and restore their evil to its full blossoming ugliness and destroy the constitutional republic. I've had troubles with our government, as everybody knows. We've done evil things in the world, but the principles that we were built upon are solid. Yes, the deep state needs to be taken out. The government needs to be cut down to about a third of its size. Easily a third, maybe more. I mean down to a third. That needs to be cut down 2/3, down to a third of its present size. I see Pam Jones there. Good morning, Pam. How you doing? Louisa Chavez, how are you doing? Denise Richards says Trump is getting bad info. Offer him 2 poor choices to keep him on track with the plan. True. That's exactly what's happening. He shows his ignorance and his unwillingness to make. That's why I'm on him all the time. But he can't have an excuse anymore. It's plainly manifest even to him. If he thought that he could deal with these people, that if he showed his magnanimity towards them, that they would reciprocate, he was wrong. Evil will not reciprocate with you except to fool you so that they can take advantage of you. It's time to call for what it is and use that sword of justice and smite them. Yeah. Apt Drink says, do you know about the Nephilim? Yeah, I do. We won't go there right now, okay? That's kind of off the subject. But that DNA is definitely a part of us today, and we need to eradicate it out of us. But at any rate. Now, Santana Benacci says he's not going to do shit that needs to get rid of the Ivanka and Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is the evil thorn in Trump's side. He is the one running at all. I'm so convinced of that. Well, I don't like either Ivanka or Kushner being there. I agree with you. I don't know that they're total evil. I do know that Kushner, well, I don't want to get into a religious discussion again. I'm very suspect of Kushner myself for a lot of reasons. Trump needed his family because he couldn't depend on anybody else. But yes, they have steered him wrong on too many occasions. I mean, it was because of Ivanka that he went ahead and sent those missiles into Syria the first time, right? Ivanka's not a very smart lady. I'm sorry, she just isn't. Or she's not grounded on principle. She's grounded on emotion, which somebody pointed out here earlier. I agree. He's got the wrong people in there. And we've all been saying it, haven't we? He keeps bringing in, it might be because he doesn't know anybody else, but he could find out if he really wanted to. Maybe that's what Schiller's up to. I don't know. Pope isn't going to give up his power. True. A lot of bad stuff there. Oh, I love questions like this. Darlin Dar. Roy, why are you preaching from the Word of God and then using God's name in vain? I'm going to be very gentle with you, okay? The name of the supreme being of the universe, his name isn't God. That's like saying president or mayor. All right? That's not his name. You've been told that that's his name. God. God. I hear these Christians say, God. God. It's not his name. It's his position. It's a position. Jesus even said, ye are gods unto whom the word of God comes. God is not his name. Do you know what his name is? What's your name? Darlin Dar? Do you know God's name? Do you know what it means to take God's name in vain? Do you know why that's a sin? You got to know his name, first of all, his real name. And you have to do it in vain. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm not going to tell you what his name is. You could find out. And actually, he has many of them. God isn't one of them. But you can say, President, execute those people. I don't have to say, Trump, execute those people. He's in the office. President, execute those people. And that's what I'm saying. God damn them. And by the way, that wouldn't be using his name in vain. If I used his real name, which I have done, and asked him to condemn people, that's not using it in vain, because I'm not using it to take advantage of somebody. See, that's what it really means. In the old days, if somebody wanted to fool you into a contract that you really didn't want to go into, but they said, in the name of God, I'm not going to use the name, but in the name of God, I am telling you the truth, and if you do this, this will be done, and it'll be great. That is using God's name in vain. You are using it to take advantage of somebody else. So you don't even know what using God's name in vain is. I could say God's real name right now and ask him to damn them instead of saying God damn. I could say it the other way. That's not using his name in vain, because I'm not doing it to take advantage of somebody or using it without real meaning and purpose in my heart and mind. I'm not using it to deceive, which is what it means, using the name of God in vain. So, Darlin Dar, you have some learning to do, young lady. These Christians don't know anything, and I get so disturbed by what they think. It's one of the reasons why we're in the trouble we're in. Ugh. I'm sorry I lost my temper, but it's really getting to the point when I see things like that, I really realize how ignorant the Western societies are. They've been culled. They've been herded into these narrow thinking areas and total ignorance and know nothing. New revelations could explain why Trump doesn't declassify. Yeah, true. Like we were saying, it might be that he's got some other purposes for that, but we'll see. Yeah, I know. I think it's a mistake, personally. I think it's a mistake because if it goes to court, they could try to seal up. They could try to make closed hearings, a lot of things. I don't know what the best thing to do is. Maybe it is best to just throw it out there and let everybody see it, because I'm not sure. I wish I could sit down with Trump and talk to him about it. That's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen. Yes, Tony Blassetti. Doesn't Nancy Pelosi wear the scepter pin on her collar? She's making a statement. Yes, she is making a statement, and it's from the evil side. It's from the Moloch side. There's no question that there's a fight now between the spirit of Moloch and the spirit of God, darling. Okay? No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, Johnny Doe, JFK took charge and we've seen what happened. Yes, but that's because, yeah, that can be averted today. Trump can't take charge. He knows who the enemy is, and he just needs to put up his defenses for that. He could do it if he really wanted to. We'll see what happens. Gary, I'm praying for you, Roy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Apt Jink again says, Trump is doing his job. I don't think you know the difficulty he has to face. No. I fully understand it. I do fully understand it. But I also understand that failing to take the initiative, so seizing the initiative, is probably one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. He's doing a lot of great things. He's getting some stuff done that he can. But he's doing a great job. Yeah, let's see. Bump stock ban. Oh. Civil asset forfeiture. What's the next one? Red flag laws. Oh. He's going after the citizens, the little people. He's not going after the guys at the top where the real problem is. He's still going after the little people. His DOJ is going after the Bundys again, trying to get the appeals court, Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, to reverse the judge's dismissal with prejudice. His DOJ is doing that. So don't tell me that he's doing his job. I don't expect him to do everything right, but the basics are being violated. The First, Second, and Fourth Amendments are being violated by him. And I will call him on it, just as Nathan called out David and just as Samuel called out Saul. Because if we don't do that, then we are committing the same crimes and sins that we allow him to do. And I want no part of it. Not saying he isn't doing a lot of good things, because he is. Well, let's see. Siberius Angel. If Barr were going to do anything, McCabe wouldn't be running his mouth. They're all buddy-buddy. They are all buddy-buddy. But I think McCabe is doing something that he's trying to influence the jury pool. Again, that kind of thing. That's what he's trying to do. Not saying that Barr is going to do anything. I don't know. That's a litmus test. We're going to see. But I don't think McCabe was running his mouth because he thinks he won't be touched. I think he's demented now. He's in a state of extreme anxiety, and he's probably just making mistakes. Oh, Luisa Chavez, I'm late coming in. What happened to your face? Sweetie. Oh, sweetie. Oh, yeah, I explained. At the beginning of this, I said, I got in this little altercation. If you think I look bad, you should see the other guy, which is just a joke. As I've explained, I got exposed to chlorine, and go back to the beginning and listen to when I explain it, but it was a thing that happened, and I got burns on me that are lesions that can turn cancerous, and so they have to burn them or cut them off every once in a while. That's why I wear one of these or a hat or that kind of thing. So yeah, it's they're just trying to get rid of the lesions so they don't turn bad. And I was saying like Mike Cernovich, he goes on even with his bad eczema, and I wasn't going to let this stop me from doing this today. Sorry to give you a bad image, but it's just. That's what it is. It'll go away. I know nobody wants to kiss me like this. I've already found that out. It's not a canker sore. They burned it. Okay. No, it doesn't feel good. Sometimes they cut them, but not usually on the face. They don't normally cut them because of some problems with that. And I don't have it all the time. It's just every few years they kind of show their ugly defections, and so they have to get rid of them. Okay, so yeah, Bonacci again says he appointed his attorney general on purpose because he's the one that's not going to do anything. So you think that they're not going to do anything. And like I said, I'm worried about that. And so are a lot of other people. Notice I put this thing out from Bill O'Reilly the other day, right? The clip on Bill O'Reilly where Bill O'Reilly says, President Trump, you got to do something. No more excuses. Take action. Go after these people, right? Even Bill O'Reilly's getting upset. And they're good buds. They go golfing together. And he's getting upset with him. Everybody got upset with me because I've been calling. You know, when Trump does good, I say great. When Trump does bad, I get upset. Here about a year and a half ago when he did some stuff, I thought, oh, great, you know, the coup is succeeding and Trump is conceding. And I even made a video about that. And it wasn't totally an error. I'm trying to get him to stop doing these things. I'm trying to say, I'm not going to partake of that. If you do that, Trump, I don't want a part of it. But you're trying to stop the invasion. That's good. You're trying to stop the killing of babies. That's good. You're trying to stop the encroachments of the Federal Reserve and the New World Order. Good. But you can't do that and not do this. You can't. Number 8, birdshot. You talking about for home defense? That is good. Number 8 or number 7 is good. Shotguns are a little tough to use, though. Especially for small ladies. They don't, that's not the best choice for them, despite what Biden said. Biden didn't know what the hell he was talking about, as usual. JFK was proven, Rose of Sharon Homestead again, JFK was proven a great president because they killed him. Yeah, his blood cries from the ground. I agree. He sealed his testimony with his blood. He absolutely did. Yeah, if the president is not under threat, the deep state, they are part of it. Yeah, that's why I think that Trump is a problem for them. I agree. It's just that he can't sit there and tweet about the evils in his Department of Justice and not do something. That's my problem with him. I don't want to see any more. You know, I'm tired of the whining. I'm tired of the complaining. You're the freaking president of the United States. Use your power. If they take you out because of it, fine and dandy. That's easy for me to say, right? What I mean by that is they're going to do it anyway. Stop pussyfooting around. Get serious. Maybe Schiller's out there doing it. The guys I talked about at the beginning. Maybe they're getting ready to. Of course, we've been saying, oh, it's going to happen next month. How long have we been saying that? Oh, it's going to happen next week. Oh, it's going to happen in 6 months. Oh, it's going to happen then. So it could be that, no, it's not. Maybe it's not. But that's the litmus test. And if it isn't, if they don't do it, ladies and gentlemen, Katie bar the door. Make sure you've exercised your First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. Go out and buy that semi-automatic rifle today to make your political statement. And I did that video. I've done 2 videos on that now. That the only way you can support the Second Amendment at this time is to go out and buy a semi-automatic rifle, be it a 10-22 Ruger, a Marlin 22 semi-auto, or an AR-15, or an M1A Springfield. I don't care. AK-47 civilian version, I don't care. Go out and buy yourself a semi-automatic to make a political statement. That's necessary that we all do that immediately. And like I showed you, I did. I put my money where my mouth is. And I hate military weapons. I don't even like the way they look. But I knew that I had to make a statement this time, and we all do. All of us. Plus, they're a good way to defend yourselves. Okay? John Bender, did I miss something? I don't want to get into this with you. I don't know who you're talking to. True Zoner LLC says, wow, you're lost. Have any of you heard of Q? A lot of people ask why I left my Q posts up that I did, back in 2017. Why, Roy, if you don't trust Q, did you leave your posts up? Because I wanted to show you what... You can go back to my early posts on Q, and you can see the claims that Q is making there. Guess what? They're making those claims again today. When they said that Hillary is going to be arrested in October or November of 2017, now they're saying, oh, she's in Gitmo. Barack Obama's in Gitmo, et cetera, et cetera. They're just recycling the same BS. because new people come in and it gives them hope and they start to pay attention. No, Q is nothing. I don't care what Lionel says. I don't care. I like Lionel, but no. You'd be wise to leave the Q thing alone. I know more than you care to know. Okay? I was there at the beginning. I saw what happened. I see what they do. I know the players. They're not nice people. And it leads right back to Hillary Clinton. Okay, Diane Nolan says, I just get a feeling Trump is on the verge of doing something. He's looking like he's carrying a heavy burden since he's declared a national emergency. Something is different. I would agree with you. As a matter of fact, I went looking for a clip of President Trump. It was either on the day of his inauguration or shortly around that period of time. I wish I could find it because the look on his face, I'll never forget. There were a group of congressmen, senators, government people that were walking down the stairs. And he was alone. Melania wasn't next to him. He was all alone walking down those stairs. I don't know if you all saw this clip. I really wish I could find it. And he's walking down and you can see the soberness in his face and in his countenance. And he stops and he turns and he looks at the person, whoever had the camera. He didn't smile like he usually didn't want to shake hands. He had a look of, my God, what am I going to do? I want Trump to succeed. I love him for being willing to stand up and be counted. But he can't back down now. He's already gone to the point where they will take him out one way or the other if they can. He can't reconcile with them. He can't make peace with them. He has to totally go to war against them. That's where we are. He's not like that. It's not in his. Going after business things and being rough in business deals. That's one thing. But we're talking about life and death now. That's a hard thing to do. But he has no choice. If he wants to stay true to his promises and to God, he has to take up the sword. He must take up the sword. And not against Venezuela, and not against Syria, and not against Russia, but against the traitors and the criminals in our government and those that surround it, like Soros, Hillary, and Obama, and Holder, and Lynch, and Clapper, and Brennan, and Comey, and McCabe, and Strzok, and Page. Deborah Milton, he must make public the evidence, then and only then will he have the backing he needs to go forward and prosecute these monsters. Make everything public. I agree with you. I think you're right, Deborah Milton. That's the way I look at it. I'm only saying that maybe he's looking at it as evidence and he doesn't want to cause a problem in the jury pool. Well, I don't know. Right now, as I've said, with what's gone on with the fake racial attacks, with the way the MSM has lied and been caught lying in the Smollett case, the Covington case, the Kavanaugh case, so much stuff. All of this is being shown to everyone without him at this point doing that. Anybody who's willing to look at it and be honest with themselves and not be all puffed up in their past positions or their supposed IQ level or accomplishments in the government where they don't know anything except about finance and administration. But they use that saying, "Oh, sorry, I'm talking to a specific person right now. Let me back off and talk generally." It might be that he's holding off for court reasons to bring this stuff in evidence. I don't think that's a good idea. I agree with you. I think he should be making it public now, and I've called for that. However, that's a tactical decision more than Maybe actually, it's a strategic decision more than a tactical one. Sometimes it's best to wait for the big guns until the enemy totally exposes themselves. I'm just saying he has to do it one way or the other. Yeah, Barr was involved in the Ruby Ridge fiasco. He helped Lon Horiuchi to avoid getting in trouble for that, and that's wrong. That was murder, plain and simple, when he shot Vicky, the wife of Randy Weaver. Yeah, John Cobb, Trump has been threatened. Leave the state alone and you'll live. But if you go after the deep state, we'll kill you and your family. So Trump is choosing life. Sad times that we live in. He's kidding himself. No, they lie. They will never leave him alone. He needs to attack them. He's wrong. Yeah, you're absolutely right in what you're saying, John Caulfield. Absolutely right. But he can't believe them. He has to know that they're lying to them. He has already crossed the line. He has crossed the Rubicon. Okay? They're going to take him out one way or the other. He needs to act first. He might have a small group there to help him, but it'll grow. A lot of vets are there standing ready. You call us under the Article 2, Section 2, and more than you can count will be there today. And I've told him that. And so is Matt Bracken. And so is Craig Sawyer. And so have a lot of other vets. And those guys know what they're doing. They were operators. You know, I may have supervised, managed operators, but I wasn't an operator. Those guys know what the hell they're doing. Oh, thank you, Darwin Dar, for that. It's called soap defense. Or the soap is called defense. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't get upset for my response to you. I get very, very animated about those things because I realize the deceptions that have happened. Okay? There was nothing against you. Thank you for being kind to me. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that it's buffering. We've had a big snowstorm again here, and every time it snows or rains, it interferes with the internet. I apologize. Yeah, body language person said Trump looked at and acted defeated. I know. It's like I just said when he looked into the camera on that day and said, oh my God, what have I done? Yeah, I know what he's after, but all he has to do is reach out to the right people, and they aren't the ones who are in the deep state that he keeps bringing into his administration. I know he is. My heart goes out to him. I pray for him, honest to God. There you go, darling, again. Honest. I pray for him every day. I feel for him because I think he's genuine. I can see it in his face too. The way to get around this is to fully expose them, not to take the bait and to shut the mouth, but to scream their iniquities from the housetops, to shout their iniquities from the housetops. That's your defense, President Trump, not being quiet. You should release the JFK stuff. You should release the stuff on 9/11. The FISA, all of the, release it all. Shout their iniquities from the housetops. Then what will they do? President Trump, then they will be running and there will be no place to hide. You've got to take the initiative. What have I been saying for 2 years? Will you? Or are you going to be Saul? And is God going to withdraw his protection from you? Because you did not act according to your promises. Bruce Minot, you are so right, Diane Nolan. Something is very different. Yes, I agree. Angel Soul says, not only is Trump not in control, but I don't think he has a clue about the people around him. So you're saying that he's not going to do anything, that he'll let them skate. Again, that's kind of the subject. Should he act or should he not? So you're saying that he won't because he's not in control. He needs to seize control, and he can do that. It won't be easy, even if he only has a small group, but he, It's not a Valkyrie. He's not fighting against the elected president, or or like the chancellor, during the movie Valkyrie with Tom Cruise and Hitler, that whole thing where they tried to overthrow Hitler. He's in the position of power, really. I mean, yeah, the deep state has the real power, but he's got the optics. He can use his pulpit. He can, if he will just do it. Like I just said, he needs to shout their iniquities from the housetops, reveal all of their sins today. And they will be looking for darkness in the rocks and in the caves. They will go in there and cover themselves with the dirt and the rocks above them and saying, God will not see us here, and they will be destroyed. There's a scripture about that. Did you know that? They will hide in the caves of the rocks thinking that they can escape the judgment of God, but they don't. But you need to reveal their sins and their iniquities, President Trump. Be damned the consequences, but you will be blessed for it. You cannot cower. You cannot back down. You cannot give them quarter. You are commanded to take them out. And if you don't, God will remove his protection from you. And yes, you and any hope that this can be that this nation, this country, this land can be a shining light to the rest of the world will be gone. Any hope? I mean, it isn't now. It's been a source of evil for too long. But the principles have been gutted. And that's why, because men have gutted the principles of this country and have not been required to stand by those principles. We've done a lot of evil in the world, but we've done a lot of good too. But it's time to call it for what it is and attack the evil Trump. Decimate it. Swing your sword. Slice them into pieces. Make them fear. It's the only thing they understand. Okay, so Steve Hall, 30 months and no one charged. Trump is a light-skinned Obama. I voted for Trump. He betrayed us. Don't prey upon needy people. False hope. I can understand where you're coming from. Haven't I? I've bounced back and forth on both of those. I've called him. Are you presenting us with a panacea? Are you a placebo? I'm not sure yet. He better show God which one it is, because if I'm wondering about that, I know that God is saying, what you up to there, buddy? What you up to? I'll take you out. Don't think that you're going to get through this unscathed if you violate your promises to me. I will take you out. I will draw my spirit from you, and you will die, figuratively or actually, just like Saul. No, I know. We have to see some results here. Montegraph is... a lot of people don't like him. You've heard me talking about him before. And it's like I said at the beginning of this live stream. He says, nothing will happen. Nothing will. That Trump is not in control. And I don't disagree with Monty on that. But Trump can repent. And he can seize control. Like I said, it won't be easy. He will be a David in the sense that the deep state, let's kind of change the scenario here a little bit. Let's say that Saul represents the deep state. Do you remember the story about this? When Saul found out that David was going to replace him as king, that Samuel had anointed him to be king, Saul became very jealous and sought to kill David, so much so that David had to hide in the wilderness. He had to go to Israel's enemies, the Philistines, for protection. Do you realize that? He had killed Goliath as a young boy, 13, something, 12, 13, somewhere in there. He had saved all Israel. Saul was king. He threw the rock right in the sling, killed Goliath, the super soldier of the Philistines, and they won the battle against the Philistines. The Philistines were the enemies of Israel. But Saul, in his evil to try to kill David, because he himself had not taken out the enemy the way he needed to. He himself had not done the things that he had promised God he would do. But instead of repenting, what did he do? He sought to destroy David. That's the deep state, too. You can use this in so many ways. So yes, they're after Trump. It's time to take him out, Trump. You can't hide. You can't hide with the Philistines. Not today. You have to reveal their iniquities and their sins and shout them from the housetops. That is what you do. Don't listen to your advisors about the political machinations and that you have to do this carefully and subtly and you have to orchestrate it and you have to be careful. No. You take out the sword and you strike in open and you reveal their sins and their iniquities from the housetops. Talk about Jeffrey Epstein and the contacts with Bill and with all these evil people, and what Soros has done, and the human trafficking, which you're trying to do, but you're not doing it all the way. You're not revealing it to the depths of its iniquities. Bring it out. Yes, it's going to shock the American people. It's going to shock the world. It's time to shock them and let them know that they can't play with this any longer. They can't blind themselves to it any longer. To do so, silence is agreement. You cannot negotiate with evil. You cannot. Bruise me not, Roy. Why wives? Why can't wives have multiple husbands? Oh, I'm not going to get into that discussion today. Okay, I'm not saying they can't. He's asking, well, if a man can have more than one wife, why can't a woman have more than one husband? There are cultures that do that, but they die off. The birth rate goes so low that they die off. So that's one argument. And there's some others which I'm not going to go into today. I don't really care if a woman has more than one wife, husband. I don't care. Okay? Have at it. I'm just saying it's not the big sin that it's purported to be. It's not wise under most circumstances. I'll just put it that way. It's not fun and games, and you really do miss something. You don't bond with one person as deeply and intimately as you could, and you're missing something in that situation. You are. Yukon Cornelius, can I swing the sword of justice? I love you, Yukon, but we can't act on our own. We can't. There was a guy once who was acting on his own, and I went to him and I talked to him and I said, why are you doing this? And he says, well, God told me to. He lied to me. God didn't tell him to. But I said, okay, well, then only God can get you out of this. Man, he didn't get out of it. Don't try to steady the ark of God. Make your own stand. Defend your own life, your own family. Defend yourself. Bond with those that are like you. But don't think that you can put forth your hand and do this. You're not strong enough. I guarantee you, you are not. You will be assuming something that isn't there. And there are those who might have a vision, they think, of God telling them to do it. Be very, very careful. Very, very careful. You can be deceived so very, very easily. Trump is Cyrus, not Saul. I understand that, Apjink. Look, all of these different things in the Bible are lessons for us. I agree that even Israel says that Trump is like Cyrus. I talked about that early on. Okay? But things change. Things shift. Trump might be helping us economically and saying you have your religious freedom. That's what Cyrus did. Okay? That aspect of it is true. But the other aspect of it is true as well. He could be a Saul who is now not fulfilling his promises. Don't get so rigid in your thinking that you can only look at these things from one angle. We are not a single personality. And what I mean by that is we are presented with different scenarios in our lives. Sorry about that. Yes, in this situation, as it began, Trump was a Cyrus. But now he is in the position of a king, okay? Right? Over the people, okay? And he made some promises, like Saul did. God negotiated with him to do certain things, which he accepted. He can't turn his back on that. If he does, he becomes Saul in that instance, and God will take him out, because God will not be mocked. Do not get rigid in your thinking. Be able to look at things from a lot of different angles, okay? All right? Soul Tribe, we have a trader on this board who hates Americans. Actually, there are quite a few of them, Soul Tribe. There are quite a few of them. My moderators do a pretty good job of keeping the nasty stuff out. But that's not to say that these people can't voice their opinions. That's okay. Voicing their opinions shows who they are, but that doesn't make them so that they can be taken off here, because I believe that they should be able to say what they want. That shows who they are, doesn't it? Didn't I say that earlier on today? That the evil in the world, those who are traitors, those who are the bad people, we see them, we see what they are, it's plainly manifest to us, and then we can examine ourselves to see if we're like that and make corrections. So we don't want to silence them like they want to. See, that's what they want to do. They want to silence us. The leftist Marxists, Democrats, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, communists, they want to silence us because they don't want us to speak our minds. But we don't want to silence them because that's how they show who they are. Do you see that? Okay, wow, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. This is another long one. I haven't gone through here. But I think that the consensus is that Trump needs to act. Would you all agree with me on that? Would you agree that most of us are saying that Trump needs to act? He doesn't need to be careful anymore. The dangers are already there. He needs to expose the evil and shout it from the housetops and take action. Take the sword of truth. Take the sword of justice in defense of truth and virtue and hack these people down to their ankle bones. That's what needs to happen. And I think that's what we're all saying here today. Would you all agree? So the consensus of opinion is, Trump, you need to go after these guys. Show no quarter, no mercy. Now's not the time to give them quarter or show mercy. That may come after they're taken out. After their armies are decimated, their weapons destroyed, and their hearts and their livers making them sick. Thanks everybody for coming. Yes, I do get a little animated, but I think you see why. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you for coming today. God bless you. God bless yours. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And may God bless Donald Trump in all of his righteous endeavors. Everything he does isn't righteous. I'm asking God to bless him in his righteous endeavors. And may he give Donald Trump the spirit of discernment that will descend upon him as the dews from heaven, that he will know the right from the wrong, and have the courage, President Trump, have the courage in your heart and in your soul and in your mind and in your spirit, that you will reveal all of the evil that has permeated our peoples, infiltrated us, and tried to destroy us, to take our souls from us. Shout their iniquities and their sins and their murders and their thievery from the housetops today. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Till next time.